Hello, I am Angelus Demoness, and I would like to explain how I do ground targeting in this game based on my full keyboard or two hands and keyboard playstyle. In other words, how to do ground targeting without a mouse. If anyone would like to see how I set up my keyboard to play without a mouse, I created a video in the past that will explain the basics of my setup. I'll put the link of that video in the description below. This video will build off of that, going into detail of what changes I have made to make ground targeting very possible and workable without a mouse. I'll be explaining things as we play, so apologies for any fumbled words and sentences. First, let's talk about what is likely the common and default setting for ground targeting for a vast majority of players. If you head to Systems, Character Configuration, and you go to probably Control Settings, and General will be the tab that you are usually starting in, you want to go to Target, and you want to scroll down and you see the ground targeting settings where my cursor is. Usually, for most people, it will be locked to the cursor. So, what that means is that when you get into ground targeting mode, I'm going to back out here, when you get into ground targeting mode, something like Sakuchi, it will be based on your mouse. See, the mouse is here. Based on your here, you point and shoot, and I get that teleport. Now how I have it set up is the following. Let's get rid of the mouse here. I go to Settings, I go to the Character Configuration, I go to Target, we go back to the ground targeting settings, and I change it from locked to unlocked. And here also, it being the Endwalker additions, I'm going to be selecting the limit ring movement to targeting range and the press action twice to execute. After that, we apply. Initially, what will happen is that you'll see the radial as I get it, it will no longer be locked to the mouse. By default, normally, remember when I first set this up, the radial is dead center on my character. Now notice, here's my mouse, so you'll see my mouse on the screen, it is no longer locked to that mouse, it is locked to here, the radial. This is something that is mimicking like a controller effect. So normally, what you would do on a controller, and you can see the ground targeting mode up top here, if you can see my mouse on top of the screen, it has your option of actually moving the ring using the R1 and the L stick, or the R1 and L3 to reset the position. This would be kind of the reset the position. So what I do when I play the game is I would move that radial from its position to a spot that's further in front of me, and then I would be manipulating the camera to put my ground targeting down. Now how I set this up initially is that I would go to the keybinds, and we would actually go to the gamepad options. And what we are going to be looking for is creating a keybind for both the R1 and in my case the L stick up. So for R1 I'm just going to use the period here, and then for L stick up I'm going to use the semicolon right here. We apply this, go to apply. Now when I go to ground targeting here, I want to be holding my my period and my semicolon, and you'll see that it adjusts. I like to kind of put it kind of middle here. That would be kind of where I'd like it to go. And then we confirm it there. And every time we do ground targeting, it'll be on that position. It'll not move anywhere I position and change my camera. It will always be in front of my character. So whenever I try to manage the position of my Sakuchi or ground targeting, if I go top down, then I will be kind of right in front of me. If I go really far, then it'll be the furthest here. And adding on to the new options that we had in, I'm just going to show you here, the limit the ring movement to the targeting range. What's really nice about this is that as I go to that max range, you'll see that white dot in front of me. That would be, if I didn't have that option on, my ground targeting would be where that white dot is. But because we have that limit to maximum range, I'll be just basically limiting to maximum range no matter how far I go. And the addition of that press button twice, I just hit that button, which was my backspace, and I get the Sakuchi. I could hit enter. I used to hit confirm to do the ground targeting and confirm it, but I can now use hitting the same button twice, which is useful in certain situations. Now the initial setup, might take a little bit of time, but again, once that thing is set to go, you never have to change it at all, and that's how I typically do my ground targeting. The most important application of this setting for me is Ninja's Sakuchi, or anything similar, like we are a ninja. I also use it a lot for the Pomander resolution in Palace of the Dead, which is pretty key for a lot of the higher floors. I've worked with this setting for over a year now, minus the new additions of Endwalker, of course, which were just added. And I can still get ground targeting off very fast and very accurate. So if you guys out there are looking to try to figure out ground targeting without just like, you know, randomly getting the mouse open just specifically ground targeting, hopefully this will help you be able to ground target without having to bust out the mouse. So I hope that's helpful. I hope it's useful. And, you know, bear in mind it'll take just a little bit of practice. It took me a little bit of time to get used to it after adjusting to it and changing it, but after a while, it became really easy and I'm super used to it now. So, thank you for watching, guys. If you have further questions or comments about this guide, please let me know in the comments section. Good luck out there.